Sorry. Hey guys, today I want to talk about the coping saw and the use of hand tools such as the coping saw. I brought in a couple of them. I have this one and I have this one to show you that there's multiple different size blades. Okay. But just so you can see, there's really not that big of a difference. One's a little bit easier to maneuver. One's a little bit harder. One's a little bit more rigid. One's a little bit thinner, so it will break a little bit easier. Okay. So before we even get started, safety first. Always have your eye protection on. No matter any time we're in the bay, you always have your eye protection on. Safety first. Never put yourself in a situation where you're compromising your safety. Okay, I'm going to adjust this a little bit because what's going to happen is you're going to need to see this piece of wood. You're also going to need to see this vise that's located right here. And I'll probably have to bring it down a little bit more. But there's a vise down here. There is, because you guys have been in the bay. And what's going to happen is I'm going to sit there and put this in the vise, and we're going to start from there. However, first, let's talk about the tool we're going to use. Again, this is the coping saw. It's a unique tool, and people are wondering why, Mr. Solomon, why are we using a hand tool when we can use power tools? Well, first off, this is a skill tool. Okay, you need to use a hand tool so you can appreciate the actual power tools that we have. But this, you can do anything with this that you can do with a power scroll saw. The coping saw is a wonder tool when it comes to making angles, cutting circles, cutting edges. This is a wonderful saw. Now, another thing about this saw, aside from it being a little bit unique looking, is that it's one of the few saws, if not the only one we will ever use, that cuts on the backstroke. What I mean by that is most saws you see people going like this, sawing. Well, with a coping saw, what you do is it cuts on the backstroke. Okay, so when you push forward, it doesn't cut. It cuts on the backstroke, which makes that unique, right? You guys understand that part. Now, with this thing, you see how thin it is, right? The blade is very thin. You don't need to put a lot of pressure on it. For you guys that have cats or dogs at home, it's kind of like petting your cat or dog. You're going to sit there and use like a stroking motion. Take the pressure off when you go forward and pull back. Let the saw do the work. You don't need to put pressure on it, because if you do that, you're going to break the blade. Okay? Just like with this one, you see how thin it is. You can barely even see it. It's very thin. You will break it. So please just do the petting motion, and this thing will do wonders to this piece of wood. Okay? Allow the tool to do the work. Now, with this, what I want to do is I want to make a spoon. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've already sketched this. I've already started from the top and sketched it out. It's really light. You probably can't see it. Just sketched it out. And I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to start. Well, actually, my other sketch is on this side, but I'm going to use this one. Start on this side, put it in the vise, and tighten it down. Okay, it's in position. And just like I told you, line your wrist, the handle, with your shoulder, make it straight, and you will cut straight. You're going to make a notch, and then you just let it go. Okay? Remember, cuts on the backstroke. So once you make your notch and you're pulling back, use that petting motion. I've only done a few cuts, and it's already gone about a 1/4 inch deep. It's very effective, very efficient tool. Now, about this, look at its shape. You're only going to be able to cut so deep, and then it's going to hit, and you won't be able to cut any deeper. What you're going to do with that is you're going to saw that portion off. Okay, come from the side, cut it off, and that allows you to go and continue on. Now, once you get to the top portion of it, you'll flip your board over, and you can sit there and start cutting from there. Okay, you can start cutting the angles and so on. All right, very simple, very effective tool. I don't want to sit there and work on somebody's project for them on this short video, but I do want to show you the proper use of a coping saw. And what you'll end up doing is you'll get a form. It's going to look a lot rougher than this, but then we'll sit there and sand and we'll chisel it out, and you too can make a spoon. This looks like a spoon that you would buy, go online and buy at Amazon or go to Walmart and work on a wooden spoon and go from there. And yes, this is a student spoon. This isn't my spoon. This is another student spoon. So it's very good. Okay. They did an excellent job on it. Excellent job. Let me tell you a little bit more about this coping saw. Okay. Coping saw is unique. It has a handle, it has the frame, it has the saw blade, and it has these two tensioners. The tensioners are what you use to take the saw blade and take it out and replace it. How it works is you hold the tensioner next to the handle and you undo the handle. Okay. Once you do that and you ease it out, you'll extend the handle and it'll actually extend this section. You take it as far as you need to. It'll go a pretty good ways. Take it as far as you need to until you can pop the blade out. Obviously, I need to take a little bit farther. That's no problem. Just take it a little bit farther, pop the blade out, and we'll go from there. It's very simple. Now, be careful. Again, blades are sharp. You don't want to sit there and get your finger caught on the blade and it pull and cut. You don't want to do that. If you can, pull it from the bottom where there's no blades. Okay. Now, a little bit about this. Here's the blade itself. You can see it's sharp. It's got teeth on it, but it also has these. I don't know if you can see that. Those two little tabs at the top. Okay. There's tabs on both ends. That's what's actually hooked into the tensioners. Now, on the coping saw itself, the tensioners themselves have slots put in them. And what happens is you set the blade in this one, in the front one, and then you extend this, put the blade in, and then once you have the blade in, you hold it and you tighten it, and it tenses up the blade, and that's how it tightens and stays in place. Okay, I'm going to loosen it up a little bit more. Now, again, the blade goes on the back stroke. So what you're going to do is you're going to hook it in the front in the tensioner, put the tabs on the outside, then you're going to hook up, hold it from underneath, don't hold it up on top of the blade. Okay, extend that, extend the handle, and it pops right in. Now, hold the tensioner, and screw the handle till it's snug. Okay, that provides tension on the blade, which keeps it in place. And once it's there, you snug it up. Now make sure you keep it straight. Don't let it turn where it's all crooked, because that's just going to make it harder for you when you try to saw. Keep it as straight as possible. Get it tight. Okay. And there you go. Very simple, very good tool. And you can take a product like this and turn it into a project like that. Looks like, obviously, this spoon did not come from a piece of wood this big. However, you can make something this quality from this using that saw and some sandpaper and a chisel. And we'll get into that section next time. But again, safety first. Always have your eye protection on. Never grab the blade, okay, because it will cut you. And be familiar with the tool itself before you start using it. Use a vise, hold the project in place, and turn it as you need to. All right? If you have any questions, reach out to me. I look forward to working with you. Have a great day.